Hello everyone, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. We are joined here outside St James's Park by Sky Sports' Keith Downie. Keith, thanks for joining me. And will this be it then for Newcastle United? That's the question. The amount of people that have came up to you today and asked you about João Pedro and many other names. Can you see Pedro still signing now? 25-30 million on top of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one to see happening now. It feels very much to me like it's maybe on ice at the moment. My reading of the situation would be they've had that second official offer, which I think we reported on Tuesday morning. As far as I know, it's not been accepted. Negotiations, even told yesterday, were still taking place. Feels to me, I might be being unfair on Newcastle, but it feels to me as though that one's on ice at the moment until they push through Isaac, and then they decide whether they're going to go for him or not. I wouldn't be surprised if that one goes away now, but also I wouldn't be surprised if they got him as well, because some strange things are happening at the moment. But it feels like come Monday they decided Pedro is obviously someone for the future, I think, whereas Isaac's someone for the present, and I think they felt with the injury to Wilson and potential further injuries to him with any issues that he may have, they thought we need someone who can come into the team right now and lead the line. I think that's why they've gone for him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now on Pedro. I know there were some couple of reports saying that it was a done deal on
Richie Romano. Here we go. We're still waiting, Romano.
Yeah, he said it was here we go on Monday. Well, we're now here on Thursday and it's not, because that was never the case. It was never agreed. From multiple sources telling us that it was not agreed. And that sources within both clubs, within other people involved in the deal, it wasn't done. So, sometimes people can jump the gun a little bit, and it causes people like me issues, other journalists issues. It causes the fans a little bit of unrest and upset. It's not helpful. But that was never done. It was never agreed, and this shows exactly why it was never agreed. Will it still happen? Maybe. If you're asking me whether it will or not, in my opinion, I don't think so. But then, if you'd asked me yesterday morning if they're going to sign Alexander Isaac, I would have said I don't think so either. So who knows at the moment? With
Isaac, do you think he'll be, when Wilson gets fit, will he be to the right of Wilson maybe? Will he look to change formation, play him two up top? Because if he doesn't sign Pedro, then maybe that will be Isaac's role. Might not be out wide.
I mean, I've not seen enough of Isaac, if I'm honest, but from what I hear, he can play off to the side as well. But the bits and pieces I've seen of him from Sweden, he's played right up through the middle. Yeah. So I think he can do either. And they've obviously seen enough that he can come in. And it's interesting because the kind of noises that were coming out of the club were that they wanted someone who could come in and almost not be a number two to Wilson, but someone who would happily be a sub and then a younger player who could develop under him, like Hugo Ekitike. Yeah. Whereas you look at Isaac, I don't know if he's that man. I think he's going to come in and want to be the number one. So I think that's better to have two. You want two players like that fighting for the number 9 jersey, fighting to play up front. You don't want one guy who's guaranteed a game every week and then the other guy just coming on. So I think this is a better situation for them. I see the bits and pieces I've seen of him, I see him more as a central striker, but knowing the way Eddie Howe operates and what he's looking for, I'm guessing he can play off to the side as well, because that is what he's been looking for. Good point, because when Isaac comes in, I think if he gets a taste for it, playing every week, starting, he's not going to want to be on the bench, is he? But you'll be sick to death of this one, Keith, but the name I have to mention, because we get asked about it every day, the followers, Lucas Paqueta, and he's in talks. Well, he was trying to be in talks. The team from England, that was West Ham United, about a bid rejected of 33 million. Any chance he'll come to Newcastle? I've always got question marks over any potential signing or any players, agents who are in the country trying to do a deal with an English club. That was the message we were given in the last 48 hours, that Paqueta's representatives were trying to do a deal with an English club. Now, if your player's wanted by clubs, why are they trying to do a deal? Why are they trying to push him out somewhere? So I don't know, there's something about the Paqueta one that doesn't add up, and I know people have asked me time and time again throughout this window, is he coming here? I've never ever at any stage reported it, and I've never ever believed it, and I have to say I got some sort of confirmation yesterday that isn't the case. I think people are putting two and two together and coming up with five purely for the fact he's Bruno's mate, and I think he came over to visit him. He's back on. Yeah. I don't know why he's not someone they're looking for. He might be in a later window, I don't know, but as I understand it, no, I honestly cannot see them spending this sort of money on Isaac and then another 40-50 million in Paqueta. I just cannot see that happening. I can see them bringing in another loan and a push if they still fancy Pedro. As I say, I don't think that'll happen, but I can see them bringing in a loan. The amount of money spent on Isaac, I can't see them then bringing in another huge amount of money on a midfielder. So if there was something done to be in on loan deals have been heavily linked with the likes of Chelsea, other than Conor Gallagher, Hudson-Odoi seems like he's set for Germany, Broja is still floating about.
Any news on any potential loan signings then?
Yeah, well, obviously they are interested in those Chelsea players that you mentioned. I get a feeling that Gallagher is the one that they like, and obviously is the injury to Shelvey, and you could see him coming in and making a difference in that team. He's been excellent out on loan last season. He started for Chelsea at the weekend. I know they lost 3-0 at Leeds, but he did start, so he's obviously part of the plans at the moment. You get the feeling that if they do bring in a central midfielder, perhaps he will be allowed to go. They haven't done that yet, so it might be one to look at towards the end of the window. Hudson-Odoi looks like he's gone to Germany. Broja has been kicking about for a while. I just feel with Isaac in now, no to Broja, because he wants to come and play. I don't think he's going to come and play if you've got Isaac and Wilson in front of you, so I don't think that'll happen. Pulisic is the other one that is a maybe. So I think they'll definitely go into the loan market. I really do. And those Chelsea players, but they seem to be dropping like flies now. And the one for me that's still there is Gallagher. But Chelsea have to want to let him go. If they don't want to let him go, then Newcastle have got no chance. So yeah, people have been saying how many more, and I've been saying one or two permanents and one loan. So that leaves us now, once Isaac's in, a loan and potentially another permanent. But it feels to me like they would really be pushing what they can spend if they were to spend on Pedro as well as Isaac.
Finally, last question then, players that could potentially leave St James's Park in the last week or so of the window. Any talk of any players out the door? Still got to get a few out, haven't they?
Yeah, well, Martin Dubravka's in talks with Man United, and I think one of the goalies have to go. You can't carry 3 quality goalkeepers like that. So I think the last couple of weeks it's kind of been a toss-up between whether Darlow or Dubravka would go. It looks as though Dubravka is the furthest there, so it sounds like he's on his way to Manchester United unless there's any hitches. I still think there's a chance Matt Ritchie might go. You know, he's not played yet, and with Isaac coming in as well, I know they play slightly different positions, but it's another attacking player, so he's one. I think Matty Longstaff will go out on loan, but obviously his deal's up at the end of the season. I think Manquillo and Fernandes, there's chances those two, maybe one or both of those might go as well. So I still expect maybe sort of between 3 and 5 to go between the end of the window. And you've got to remember, when you're signing players like Isaac and potentially Pedro, when you're bringing these guys in, you've got to let people go as well to give them room in the squad, and 25-man squad. So interesting times. I wish they'd kept this one till next Thursday. This would have been a nice one on deadline day, but here we are.
Well, hopefully we've still got something to do on deadline day, but just to make sure there's no chance of Bruno Guimaraes to Real Madrid then, no?
No chance.
Good
He's not coming in for 6 months and then going. Yeah. You can't always love for the fans and then go after 6 months. Nonsense.
Good stuff. Right, thanks very much for joining me, Keith. Appreciate your time, mate. Thank you. Cheers.